from Puerto Vallarta. I probably butchered that, saying that in my Texan accent. But hello from the Marketers Cruise. I decided to come inside because the balcony is a little bit spotty with the internet, and of course cruise ship internet. So you never really know because it likes to go in and out. So we're gonna probably be a little bit of a shorter live today. And also it's kind of noisy outside because we are in port. Now that being said, I just got back from an amazing zip lining tour through the jungle, very up high in the mountains, going across huge ridges, and I'm like, holy crap! I've never done a zip line this long, and um, it was pretty amazing. I even will be probably uploading video later of me hanging upside down on the zip line and going through the jungle, which is freaking wild. Anyways, having an amazing time here. And the reason that I really wanted to bring up this topic today is because there are a lot of really big name people, big business people, people that are, doing a lot, but I am seeing so much dysregulation. Like, and in myself too. Like, we are staying up till, midnight or 1 o'clock to like talking collaborations and like business partnerships and how we can help each other. And then getting up at like 7 in the morning to meet at 7:30 to like pick these people's brains a little bit more and like really solidify things. So um, while we are on the ship, it is very much like there's no time to rest. And of course, like we are taking chances to have fun, like in port and going to do like excursions. But this is the reason I want to talk about this because, like there's a lot of big personalities here. There's a lot of like things that might seem against the grain from, what you might find as a value. There's a lot. Oh, how funny! It's not even Wednesday, you guys. Oh my god, it's Tuesday. We are doing the live a day early because I apparently have lost all concept of what day it is of being on the ship. Okay, but let's just go for it because I'm here and I don't know that the internet is going to be any better at the next port. So, anyways, I'm going to talk to you about the energy leaks. And so again, there's like really big personalities. There's things that like people might tell you that like to do something in a certain way that feels against the grain or is against your values. So the problem is like we have not only things like this that are draining our energy, but there is things that are quietly draining almost everyone I know every single day, and they're secret and they're sneaky. And so like that bone deep fatigue that comes even when you haven't done that much. Like there's days where like in the past where I would just feel like I did less in the day, but I was so freaking tired. And so it really isn't laziness in that sense. Like it's basic, and it's not age catching up with you because you don't. I've met so many people out here. Like we went on zip lining with this woman that's like 83 years old, and like she's having trouble getting up the steps and things like that, but she's freaking rocked ass, and she was so grateful for the experience. And so she doesn't know when her last day is, so she wants to live it up every moment. Like age is just a number in that sense. So what it really is like attention and emotion leaking out of tiny little invisible little cracks that you've been tolerating for too long. So right now most of us are living in this like micro stress state where it's basically like we have the notifications on our phone, which I feel like I bring up every time. You know, our emails are packed. We're getting spam calls. Our, you know, like we're still inundated with news and notifications. And I swear I turn off like every news outlet on my phone, and somehow Apple still freaking sends me Apple News. But you know, I digress. But our minds are spinning in this state. Like our attention is getting pulled, especially if you're a parent. Our attention is getting pulled all the time. So our nervous system really it never gets to idle. Like we don't have that time to just chill. So that's why, you know, even when we have these big like aspirations and inspirational things that, you know, like we get excited and we're like, oh yes, let's go do it. And then we think about it and then we're like, oh, I'm already exhausted and I haven't even done it yet. So it's just, you know, of like piles of laundry. Like think about like the laundry pile, just like getting another shirt put on and another pair of pants, and like, you know, it's just keeps piling up and piling up. So it's just piles and piles on top of everything else that you're already carrying. And so energy leaks are like the invisible taxes on creativity, intuition, your clarity, getting to know your higher self, your peace. So they don't just wear down your mood, they actually deregulate your nervous system. So energy leaks, what they really are, and you know, to define this actually properly, it's not just feeling tired. It's, you know, any place your attention or emotion or life force gets drained without a meaningful return. And it's important to understand that, you know, your nervous system is funding every single one. So every time you tolerate something that's misaligned, maybe it's like an unresolved conflict or an unhealthy dynamic, or maybe you have that friend that just like, every single time like you get around them, you just feel leaving like shit. It's basically like these constant mental to-do lists too. Like it's basically you're paying for it with your body's energy capacity. Like think of it as an actual battery. Like you're getting drained by all of the things. All of the background like apps and stuff that are running on your phone is getting drained. Your battery is getting drained. So your system is not going to distinguish between small stress and big stress. Each unfinished loop is going to keep you in a fight or flight state. It's the mechanism that's like humming in the background. So even when you have a moment to sit down and not do anything and just, you know, take a breath, like you're still like your nervous system, you're still pumping the chemicals in your bloodstream, like you're still internally sprinting. So that's why, you know, somebody could have like a toxic relationship or a draining job and suddenly sleep like a baby. They didn't just get less, you know, like it, sorry. If they have this toxic relationship, they have this draining job and they leave it, then, you know, like it's like sleeping, just like taking that breath, and they didn't get less busy. It's because their nervous system stopped hemorrhaging energy. So the most common energy leaks is basically the things that you tolerate. So that's like unclear boundaries, like saying yes when your body is telling you no. How many of us do that? Letting other people like steal, I don't want to say steal our time, but it's like, you know, like they expect us to come and do something, or like they want you to do something for them because it's an emergency for them, like their urgency becomes your emergency, or like every false, you know, every time that you say yes to things like that, like it's basically it's like a withdrawal from your battery, your power account. Another one is emotional caretaking. So managing someone else's feelings at the expense of your own. This is big with women because we don't, like we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to walk on eggshells. We won't say the things that we're really supposed to, want to say. And this one's sneaky. Like it looks like you're being kind, but it's actually kind of more of a self abandonment in you know in the spiritual way. Like it's basically suppressing your true self and your soul and who you truly are. So it again, it's sneaky. All of these. Um, Clutter is another one. That could be digital or physical clutter around your house. Like somebody actually said to me this recently is if I can remember the exact phrase, but it's something like how somebody's house is how their mind is, or like, or how messy their house is how much of a mess they are inside. Like honestly, clutter is very, like you might not even notice it in your house consciously, but subconsciously it's there. And so it actually blocks energy pathways. It's going to cause you to lose your focus. It's going to cloud your intuition and your clarity, your creativity. It is like, think about like your peripheral. So even if I'm not focused on how messy the house is and how cluttered it is, I can see all this stuff around me, even if I choose to consciously ignore it. So every open loop is, say you have like a TV stand that you were in the middle of building. And so, like, let's just say that you had to paint it or something like that. So you have your TV stand and like you left it unpainted, and then like you have like the little, maybe say you have like knobs that are supposed to go on the drawers, but you haven't put those on. So it's basically like a loop that's signaling unfinished in your brain. And so your brain does not like open loops. Like it wants to close the loop so desperately. That's actually a lot of why marketing works, where those videos that give you like the kind of hook where it's like, what's going to happen next, and like you can't not watch it because you want to know what happens next, or like the watch to the end videos, and then you end up watching it for 10 minutes and nothing happens at the end, and then you're like, why did I watch that? But your mind wants, it wants to close the loop because it does not like unfinished things. It doesn't like open loops. So this actually keeps cortisol elevated until that task is closed. So your closet, your desktop can literally keep your body in fight or flight just by being in existence like that. Another one is sleeping with your phone. So I have a morning and night routine. I try not to, well, I have all of my devices set to like 7 o'clock to go to the blue light blocking. However, I cut off. I have a cutoff time for my bedtime to not be on my phone anymore or not be on my computer anymore. So when you are using your phone close to bed, you're creating this like dopamine roller coaster. And so I really hope this the internet is okay with this, because it says that my connection's unstable. But anyways, the dopamine cortisol roller coaster starts before you even leave the bed. So if you begin the day dysregulated, leaking, by grabbing your phone first thing, or having your phone like right before you go to sleep, like it's leaking focus. That being said, I'm probably going to take a nap before dinner. um, Another one is chronic overthinking, like the worrier, like the, oh my gosh, like I don't know what's going to happen next. This could happen, like all of the possibilities of bad things that might go wrong. And so every time you mentally rehearse replays, or like replays of the past, or like all the things that could go wrong, it's basically you're sending the same stress signal through your body. So this isn't just like a mental thing. Like this is biochemically, it is again flooding your body with cortisol, the stress hormone. And then guilt and resentment is probably the biggest, well, probably the more obvious one, right? Like it's the two heaviest leaks out there. So one, of course, guilt is going to hold you in the past. The other keeps you braced for future pain, the resentment. And so the wildest part about this is these aren't random habits. Like they're nervous system strategies. Like your body, again, I keep preaching this, like your body only wants to keep you safe. So, you know, when we're over giving, we want to stay accepted. Like overthinking is to control outcomes. For holding resentment, like we don't want to, we're trying to prevent like future hurt. And so every energy leak points straight back to wanting to be safe. It's safety coding, right? It's coding it's in disguise. So the biology between or beneath all of this, like if we connect this to your brain, when your amygdala senses ongoing tension, is basically going to hijack the prefrontal cortex. It's basically your prefrontal cortex is the part that handles like logic and thinking and math and creativity and long-term vision. And so the more leaks that you tolerate, the less access you're going to have to clarity and intuition. So when your reticular activating system, which is basically like the attention fixer of your or filter of your brain, it starts, it sees something and it starts tuning things to danger. Like that means even like neuro input gets or neutral input starts getting colored as threats. So from that state, you'll notice what's wrong faster than what's right. You'll manifest more chaos, not because of vibration talk, but because actually biology follows focus. And so if you're thinking about something a lot, it's going to have that in the forefront of your mind a lot. So every time you cut, a toleration, you're not quitting. Like you're basically you're telling your body it's safe. You're updating your safety code, to say, we don't need to hold fear here anymore. And so that's again regulation in action. So how do you fix your leaks? So here's a little self assessment like exercise. So I want you to take a quiet moment and ask yourself these three things. Where am I leaking time? That could be talks, tasks, obligations that drain me but don't feed me. Where am I leaking attention? That could be the story loops in your head, the resentments that you keep replaying. And where am I leaking integrity? Places where I'm saying I'm going to do one thing and then I end up doing another. So what I want you to do is answer these three questions, and I can post them in the chat, but write them down. Be honest. You'll probably actually feel a little bit of guilt with these. And it could also be relief. It doesn't have to be guilt. It could be guilt and relief, right? Just naming them. Because again, we don't really want to judge what we're saying, but the point is to bring awareness to it. So the feeling is your body recognizing the truth. And this alone can bring your nervous system down a notch, and it finally knows what it's dealing with. So Uncertainty, it actually burns more fuel than clarity does. So how do we stop the leaks? And let me drop this in the chat here so you can do it with me. How do we stop these? So step one is obviously we want to name them. We want to name what the leaks are so that we can bring the awareness to it. Any time that we can make like a small closure, we close the loop, that's going to create safety inside of our bodies. So, close one small loop today. Maybe you have a text message that you are waiting to reply to on your phone. Just reply. Or, maybe like you call somebody that you've been meaning to call, or you're going to clean a corner of your room or throw away something expired. But each completion is teaching your system that, that threat's handled. So we're safe. We're good. Like that's actually kind of like a conditioning. You're doing like there's so much that we have to unlearn to learn. So we are basically reconditioning ourselves in a way, like training a dog. Think about it as training a dog. Like don't worry about it. You can't teach old dogs new tricks, because I've proved that is incorrect. But another thing we can do is normalize saying no. Nervous system mastery is basically it's like maintenance to your boundaries. It's not going and taking a bubble bath and having a massage, because being calm isn't freedom. It actually costs honest conversation. And so I don't know, yeah, I've probably talked about this, about people pleasing. Essentially what you're doing with people pleasing is you're wanting something back by people pleasing, by actually saying to, like, you want somebody to like you, or you want them to do something for you because you did something for them. Like it's actually kind of more selfish than it is selfless. So when people are in a people pleasing mode, and they like say the things to smooth things over, like it's actually, people don't, subconsciously, people don't trust their opinion, because they think that either A, they're just doing it to get something out of you, or B, that they're not really being honest with you, like they can't give you an honest answer. So think about that when you're in people pleasing mode, because technically it's going against the reason that you're people pleasing. I mean, well, not subconsciously wise, no, it's not, but consciously, because we think that we people please because we're wanting to please others. We're wanting to be like a caregiver, or be something for, like put somebody else ahead of us. But it's not actually that. It goes much deeper, and we can get into that in a different call. Another thing you can do is replace reacting with regulating. So a lot of the times, like when we're in a dysregulated state, we're very reactive. Like it's like hair trigger. Oh my God. Like, so responding to anything draining or that causes like a kind of like a hair trigger in you, what I want you to do, or if somebody asks you to do something, for like to go out or something, breathe in for 4 and exhale for 6. So extend the exhale and tell your body we're okay. There's nothing that regulates you faster than doing that. Any time that you can actually feel that stress arise in your body, do that. You can audit your environment. So, of course, you deserve spaces where your nervous system can actually, it can relax. It's not constant vigilance. It's not, constantly go, go, go. And if people or content are spiking your adrenaline and you can notice that, limit it. Again, I don't watch the news. I turn off all my news notifications. And that's not avoidance, but it's actually energetic hygiene, because my energy is more important. And then lastly, you can choose coherence over control. Control, it is a false illusion, and it fragments you. There is nothing that we can control other than ourselves and how we act. So coherence is going to unite you instead. So let your mind and body communicate. Ask, does this action feel steady in my body? If the answer is no, it's probably a leak waiting to happen. So when you live this way, regulation stops being self-care, and it actually becomes a strategy for being better. So if you plug your leaks, your baseline will change. And instead of chasing energy, you're going to generate it. And instead of forcing focus, it arises naturally. So momentum built on a regulated nervous system is, there's no, willpower only lasts so long, right? Like, a regulated nervous system is probably the most sustainable thing that you can do. But if you're going to build it on, momentum built on adrenaline, it's always going to crash. So it's not about doing less for the sake of less. It's about removing what doesn't multiply your energy. And that's how you create quantum leaps from calm versus chaos. So this week, I want to challenge you. Take 3 energy leaks, choose them, bring awareness to them. It might be a boundary that you avoided, or a bill you ignored, or a conversation that you've, been replaying in your months that you just didn't want to come, revisit. Closing one will free up so much bandwidth that you didn't even know that you lost. So your energy is sacred. Stop funding what drains you. And, because this is such an important conversation, I do want to, again, invite you guys to the 3-day event, the Breath Codes. So we're going to look at nervous system healing. We'll do some subconscious rewiring, and then, of course, embodied abundance. And then we tie it all up with a beautiful bow in the Healing Day event that is Thursday night. So that starts on Tuesday the 27th and runs for 3 days, and then the Healing Day is on the same day as the last day. But once you stop leaking energy into what you can, what you're tolerating out there, you stop living in survival and you start creating from coherence. So I really hope to see you guys there. I would love to hear what leaks that you're willing to plug right now so that you can reclaim your power. I would love to celebrate you, because that is a big win. It takes a lot of awareness to figure out what is no longer serving you. And I guarantee you that it's going to feel so much lighter, and you will see how fast life responds. But anyways, thank you guys for being here. I am going to show you outside, because I really did want to do this from the balcony so I could turn my camera around. So this is what we're going to do, and hope the energy stays. The energy of the internet. But here we are. Beautiful Puerto Vallarta. All right, guys. Have an amazing week. I will see you on the next Wednesday call. Sorry, I know it's noisy out here. Love you all. Bye now.